Another football season of great enthusiasm is upon us, so I go to the former football player that I believe has the most profound amount of indifference about the upcoming NFL season. Ricky Williams is somebody that I don't believe will be watching on Sunday. Do I have this wrong? Am I incorrect when I say that Ricky has to be told by others that the football season is beginning and might not get immediately to a television?
That's not fair. I'm not saying in most years that might be somewhat accurate, but it's not fair. Actually, I will be watching football this Sunday. I'll be in Tempe, Arizona, hosting a Heisman House at the High Lounge. So I will be smoking and watching football. And maybe this was the issue. Maybe if I was allowed to smoke, then I'd be watching more football. But I am allowed to smoke, and I'm bringing people together to come watch Sunday Ticket. So I will be watching football this Sunday.
First, I'll be in Tempe on Sunday, so just shoot me the address. But second, Ricky, I do want to know, had you been able to smoke during your career, if there was no marijuana restrictions or rules or even laws in the land, do you think your football career would have lasted longer? Would you have been happier, or do you think it was always just meant to be for you to be the way you are?
Yeah, I think the answer to that question is yes, yes, and yes. So maybe one of them is maybe. I don't know if I would have played longer. I might have gotten to the point of what am I doing a little bit sooner, but I definitely would have enjoyed playing a lot more. Because one, cannabis helps us enjoy things in general, but two, the amount of stress I had to deal with the drug test and being afraid of people find out. And I think that just drained a lot of energy I could have been using to be a better football player.
Can you explain to us the amount of stress that you were under in general? Not just there, but what do you regard as the greatest forms of stress in being a star football player?
Injuries. It's not even close. Injuries. Well, the coaches say you're either hurt or you're injured. You're either hurt or you're injured, and you got to figure that out. And that's stressful, especially for me, because I always want to be on the field and I don't ever want to let anyone down. So even when my arm was dangling off, or my ankle was broken, I went back in the game until I realized, okay, something is not right. So that in the game is kind of stressful, but during the week of practice, when you're trying to figure out how much can I practice, when you're in a lot of pain, and then always thinking, how's this going to feel on Sunday? How am I going to do? Just the cumulative effect of being hurt for long periods of time in the NFL, I think, is by far the most stressful thing.
Explain to me the stress of the drug test.
Well, I guess for someone who is not smoking anymore, it's probably not that stressful. It's probably not that stressful. But, for me, it was a gamble. It got to the point where I realized I can't play football if I'm not consuming something. And so, I would experiment. So the experimental times were the most stressful, where I was trying to see how many hits can I take and still pass a drug test tomorrow. Okay? 3 is the answer, at least the one as far as I got in my examination. So the stress was when I smoked and I wasn't sure if my urine was clean enough, and that if I failed, it'd be the end of my fame and my career. So that was kind of stressful. The other part of the stress is when you're in the NFL drug program, or at least back then, and I love to travel. Every time I travel, I have to give the NFL my address, how long I'm going to be there, what time I'm going to be there. And if they call me at any time, I have 4 hours to pee in a cup or it's a failed drug test. So that was kind of stressful too.
Can you take us through the number of times you were being tested once you end up in the program, and how silly all that seems now in retrospect when you're only watching football on Sunday as a paid appearance on behalf of your marijuana brand?
I know. It's kind of cool. So when I first got into the drug program, for the first 2 years of the drug program, and because I was in there from 2002 to 2011, so I spent about 8 years in the drug program. And when I first started off, it was 9 times a month, which is almost every other day, almost. But at the end of the day, it came down to the drug tester. The first guy was a rule follower, and when they follow the rules, you got to pull your pants down to your knees and you got to be there at a certain time. It's just stressful. Second guy, Jen, he was cool as hell. He just would come in the house, hang out with the kids, and say, "Just give me a cup." Oh my God!
Did you ever give him the wrong? Not your urine.
Did I? Hey, I said Chris today. would you mind peeing in a cup for me? And then she would just put it in the bathroom. I'd go in the bathroom, turn the water on, and I'll get the cup and bring it out. I only did that a couple of times. Most of the time, I either knew how to follow the rules enough or I knew how to clean my urine. Most of the time at the NFL's drug program wasn't enough because, out of the 500 or however many tests I took, I did fail, I think, 4.
I love the idea that the drug test is saying, Ricky, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The bad news is you failed your drug test. The good news is you're pregnant.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've got you as the wrong gender. Can you?
I had some PTSD from FedEx trucks, because in the NFL drug program, if you fail a test every time, 7 days later, you get a FedEx in the mail. And I think the worst one was in the end of 2005. So I was suspended for 2004, came back 2005, served a 4-game suspension. This is when Nick Saban was coaching the Dolphins. And then I tore it up, last 2 games of the season, average over 150 yards or something like that. And I was like, fine, everything's going well. USC was playing Texas for the national championship game. I was so excited to go to the game. That morning, I get a FedEx at my friend's house. Damn NFL, man. I get a FedEx at my friend's house telling me that I failed a test, so I'm going to be suspended for a year. So it was kind of hard to enjoy the Texas national championship game, but I still was able to enjoy.
Did you ever fail a test for not getting there within 4 hours?
No. Mm-mm.
So you were able, no matter where you were able to get to where you needed to be in order to do the test. What are some of the creative ways that you tried to clean your urine?
It's not that creative. There was the first part that worked. The first way that worked the best was there's a drink, and it was called like extra clean. Okay, but it was tricky in the beginning. It was tricky in the beginning because I didn't want the Dolphins to know that I was in the drug program, because once everyone knew, then it was easy. I just would do the test at the facility. But before I wanted people to know, the tester would come to my house in the morning before practice. So he'd get there at like 6 a.m. So in order for me to take the extra clean, I had to get up at 5 a.m, take the drink, and then wait 15 minutes, drink 2 more glasses of water. And then my urine was clean for 5 hours. And so the major test that I failed, my second failed test, is we had just lost to the Eagles on Monday night. And I was probably out a little bit too late. And I woke up at 5. I took the drink. And as I was waiting to take the second drink, I fell asleep. And then I woke up with the drug tester at my door. And if I was smart, he was cool. I would have just said, can we do this later? And I was giving myself time for the drink to work. But for some reason, I just rolled the dice and said, okay, I'll pee in the cup. All right. Here's the other part of the story. So I peed in the cup, failed the drug test, right? And when you pee in the cup, you pee in an A bottle and a B bottle, right? And they say that you pee in the B bottle, so if you fail the A bottle, they can test the B bottle to see if it's valid. So again, I fell asleep. I didn't finish the process. I failed the test. And so I appealed the test. And when I appealed the test, they tested the B bottle, okay? The A bottle failed the test. The B bottle did not fail the test. So I was this close to passing the test, okay? So I appealed it, and the NFL came back and said, we don't want to suspend you. If you just stay in the drug program for 8 more months and you stay clean, we'll let you free. But we're not going to count this as a suspension, all right? So they kind of left it open. And I said, no. I said, I want to be out of this right now. And so they kept dragging it on, and that's when I failed the final drug test that led to the retirement.
I read a story that made me think of you this week. I don't know if you know this or not. Troy Aikman revealed that he almost unretired in 2003 to play for the Dolphins, that Dave Wanstead and Norv Turner. Oh, you're learning this for the first time? You did not know this?
I had no idea. Wow.
I guess he didn't talk to Ricky before.
Do you realize how different that might have played out if it wasn't Jay Fiedler and A.J. Feely as the quarterbacks?
Oh, man. That would have been great. I might still be playing football.
Mike Ryan, you're not convinced that a concussed Troy Aikman could have been better than Jay Fiedler?
I mean, if you look at the stats, Troy Aikman, slightly overrated, but I mean, I understand I'm comparing Jay Fiedler, and it's not like he's from this other time and it's a bygone era, but Troy Aikman was a little overrated just because of all the success he had on the field, no?
Regardless, yes, he only had one 20-touchdown season. But again, Jay Fiedler and A.J. Feely helped Ricky retire.
I mean, when you put it that way,
Yeah,
when
I
you're
mean,
just saying the names.
He was
Jay
carrying the
Fiedler,
ball
A.J.
400
Feely.
times a season. It was yes or no, what the Dolphins did to you was cruel and inhumane.
Only because they weren't willing to pay me. That's what makes it cruel and unhuman.
Are you emotionally tied to Texas, Alabama this weekend? Texas remains the program that you care about the most, right? If something is going to stir some embers of passion for football in you, it's Texas, correct?
I feel like I'm supposed to say yes.
No, if I have it wrong,
That's the best answer.
do I have it wrong?
I mean, I feel like that's the answer. I feel like I'm supposed to say yes, but I don't feel a yes like rushing to the surface. I like Texas, and I think, when they play and I'm watching the game, but I think I try to avoid being a fan for this reason. They break my heart every single year, and so it's hard. It's hard.
It hurts too much. A notoriously
It hurts too much.
a man with a very high pain threshold is here to tell you that Texas football hurts too much.
Well, it's been 15 years, 14 years or something. It's like, that's a lot. And I'm an optimist. And so I was, thinking about the beginning of the football season, every year since Pop Warner, I was convinced that we were going undefeated. Convinced. And that first loss, it didn't matter. That first loss was always heartbreaking. Always. And then I think, okay, we're going to lose one game. So every loss is like heartbreaking because I think we're going to be undefeated.
Good seeing
And
you.
so it's
again.
even worse when I'm not playing. And it's like other people that I'm not coaching and playing, and I just have to watch. Oh, that's hard for me.
As I was saying, good seeing you again, buddy. Always good seeing you.
Yeah, you too.